Good morning. I'm Pete Najarian. This is The Take for Market Rebellion going into this Memorial Day weekend, and we're pretty excited about that, of course. I'll tell you what, yesterday, really a pretty interesting start because when we look at what's been going on, we've been talking a lot about volatility and the movements in the market. Well, we've watched volatility completely get pressed down and pressed down and pressed down. We started off the week over 20 on the VIX, and actually we're closing out the week. We'll see where it goes. We're only an hour into the trading session, but we're trading in the mid-16s. So certainly we have pulled back significantly percentage-wise on the volatility index, and it's reflected by, just take a look at the Dow. The Dow yesterday actually started off strong, stayed strong, remained somewhere around up 200 points, finished about 140 points to the upside. A really tight range also for the NASDAQ, except for this range was very, very close to unchanged. It was up a little bit, it was down a little bit, it had a little bit of fluctuation, but very little. As a matter of fact, finished the day down 1 point, down 1 point for the NASDAQ. So, you know, that really does tell you a lot. Are people getting excited for the long weekend, or is it more than that? Is it a little bit something more because we'd had that spike in volatility just a week or two ago, and now we've been easing back off of that, and a lot of what's been happening in the market is Bitcoin related. You take a look at the price of Bitcoin, and its range has really constricted a little bit more and a little bit more, and we're seeing it a lot closer to, call it 37,000 and maybe up to 40,000, which I know that's a 3,000 range, but that is a lot tighter than what we had been seeing with these just crazy moves up and down for the price of Bitcoin. So yesterday, what was really powering the Dow to the upside? Well, the industrials certainly were the leader. That was absolutely the leader. Financials contributed as well, along with materials. So a lot of our very favorite names really leading this move to the upside in terms of some of the strength that we were seeing. Boeing, one of those names, GE, Honeywell, we had UPS, all very positive and nice, strong moves to the upside. JP Morgan, Bank of America on the financial side, and then on the material side, again, take a look at what's been going on with Freeport Mac. That had another really solid performance day yesterday, along with Alcoa, and throw in US Steel. But really the focal point, I think, of the day, and it was brought up last night, and I talked about it, I had a chance to talk about it on the Fast Money show, and I was specifically just targeting what we were seeing in some of these meme stocks, or, you know, Reddit, whatever you want to call it, but these stocks that have an incredible amount of short interest and a lot of activity, and their direct attack for a lot of the folks that are in the market now that maybe weren't in the market in the past. And I think we all just have to adjust, and you have to adjust to what are the market conditions and what does it really mean. So you take a look at AMC yesterday, up 35%. And then you look over at Beyond Meat, which is kicking in as a potential another type of name in that world. Beyond Meat actually has a 26% short float, and actually AMC is only about 22%. So is it a possibility that that's maybe another target at some point in the future? Potentially. We haven't seen quite enough volume yet to really confirm something like that. But I will tell you this, the volume yesterday was 5 times normal in Beyond Meat. It was 7 times normal for AMC. And AMC has been along for the ride in a lot of different ways with GameStop over time, going all the way back to January, and scattered other names as well. So something we are seriously watching very closely. We've had some unusual in here. We've talked about that. And last night we were highlighting a little bit of how crazy some of that unusual is. I'm going to get into that in just a second. But before we get there, take a look at crude holding on to 67. We talk about energy all the time. And we've talked about, yes, some of the pullbacks. It sort of back and fills and then sort of stretches up to another new high. So we'll see if that's what's playing out right now. I mentioned Bitcoin already. What really stood out also yesterday, take a look at what Ford has done. As Ford powered up and everybody's so excited about the EV market and what they're doing, and another new high with the stock actually getting up towards 15. Now, yesterday, volumes were strong, 38 million contracts in the derivatives world. We talk about this each and every day here on The Take for this reason. Where is the growth in this market? And I can tell you right now, you take a look at what's going on in the derivatives market. Now, you hear me talk about 40 plus million and 30 plus million. We've dropped. We've had 1 or 2 days that were below that 30 million mark. 38 million contracts, a nice big solid day once again. So 3.3 million of that, AMC. So gives you a little bit of an idea when we talk about, hey, there's some unusual going on. There is some unusual going on there. So certainly that definitely did stand out. So we had a lot of economic data this morning, and it really didn't have a huge move on what we were seeing, because we had already seen in the pre-market where things were. We were up about 130 on the Dow. We were up maybe 30 points or thereabouts on the NASDAQ. We've kind of flatlined for the most part so far. We've been easing back. Matter of fact, I'm going to take a quick look as we're sitting here. I'm showing the Dow right now up 100, and I show the NASDAQ up about 50. And as I look at that, the NASDAQ's been up anywhere from 30 to 40, now 50. Pretty nice little move to the upside. But you look over at the Dow itself, and the Dow was up about 150 early on, pulled back to 100. Then we moved back up towards that 150 line. Here we are once again towards about $100 to the upside on the Dow. Crude holding on to 67. Bitcoin, once again, it's volatile for sure. It can be volatile for sure, but it hasn't been very volatile as we've gotten through this week. And as we look at it today, the last time I had an opportunity to check on it, it was down a little bit. It was down a couple of percent, but trading about 36,000 or thereabouts. Obviously it can go absolutely anywhere. We're 1 hour into the trading session, and we've got this extended weekend in front of us. We'll see if there's a lot of travel that's going to affect things. Is the volume going to just really ratchet down? That's what used to happen in the past. It didn't happen last year in 2020 as we were very shut down for the pandemic. We'll see how things pan out for today. So certainly that could be a factor. Now, AMC, was it done yesterday? A lot of people said so. We saw nothing but a huge activity to the upside. Volatility, implied volatility, big buyers. That's what pushes that implied volatility. You get monstrous buyers, we're going to rate. As a former market maker, I stood on the floor for a lot of years, 92 to 2000 and something. And I'll tell you what, if people are coming after something, you're going to change the price, and you're going to keep changing the price and changing the price. And you want to find where there's the mix of buyers and sellers. Well, it's been buyers, it's been buyers, it's been buyers. Yeah. And that's what's really been pushing that implied volatility to the upside in names like AMC. And you can even throw in a few of the other names out there. I'll tell you what, we've seen some interesting activity for a lot of different reasons, but BlackBerry is another one of those names that seems to be a target name at times as well. So anyway, the main focus there was AMC. So we talk about inflation. It looks like things are sort of under control to some degree. When we start off today, and what was really leading the markets, we had healthcare, energy, technology. So a nice start, but nothing really significant in any specific direction. We weren't seeing a 1 or a 2 or a 2.5% move like we frequently have out of maybe energy or something else. We're seeing a very, very calm start to the day. And will that play out through the rest of the day? Only time will tell. So I've got two unusuals, and then I'm going to ask you to have a very safe and wonderful weekend for this Memorial weekend. Palantir is the first one. This one's pretty interesting because stock's trading about 23.50. It's a very, very popular name, comes up all the time. 23.50, and we had a buyer of the June 4th expiring, that's next Friday, June 4th expiring, the 26 calls. They bought a significant number of those. They were only 10 cents up to 20 cents. So that's one of them that stood out for me. And it was one of the very first trades of the day that hit. So it's a little bit unusual. What's more unusual is the second one. We've got NUE, Nucor. Now, we talk about materials all the time, and my love of materials right now and financials right now, industrials. There are certain segments of the market that I think energy, that I think have a lot more upside in front of them. We'll see how that plays out, playing a lot of that through the options world. So Nucor seeing some pretty active buying in here, 4,000. But what makes it very unusual, they're going all the way out to October. Everything has been short term, 1 week, 2 week, maybe 3 and 4 weeks. But it's interesting to see this one. So Nucor trading about 101 at the time. And we've got a buyer of the October 110 calls. So looking for a little bit of upside. They're also selling puts to the downside, which just adds to the bullishness of this trade. So they're selling downside, willing to say, hey, look, if it breaks down, we're going to buy more. And they've got this upside piece as well with these October 110s. These are not cheap because of time and price. So you're looking at anywhere from $5.70 up above $6 for those calls. But I thought it was very important because we hadn't really seen a lot of this activity that's gone way out into the future, going out to October for this to plan out. So we'll see how that plays out as well. Folks, have a great, safe, wonderful weekend. Be educated in derivatives markets. This is where the growth is. Talk about it all the time, the Market Rebellion. We've got educators. We've got great people who work here. We're very proud of that. And I just want you to have a very safe weekend. Take care and have a good luck today in your trading.